welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Amanda. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Today we are going to be making a super cute patchwork ghost tumbler. For this design, you can paint your tumbler however you would like. You can do burst of paint, you can do an ombre. I initially had a different idea for this tumbler, which is why I painted my tumbler in sort of stripes, and then I let the paint drip down and dry however it landed. But halfway through, I changed my mind per the use and decided to go with like a patchworky ghost kind of theme. But basically, you can do your paint job however you want. Once you do get your paint colors on your tumbler, however, we are going to be adding glitter to that painted section. So just keep that in mind. If you mix your colors too much, you want to make sure that your glitter is going to coordinate with that mixed paint. I hope that makes sense. But we are working with a 20-ounce camper mug, and I am just going to go in after my paint has dried, and we're going to use some glitter glue. You can use Mod Podge, you can use the epoxy method, however you want to do your glitter adhesion, go ahead and do that. But because some of my paint did kind of drip into other sections and stuff, I'm just going to use glitter glue so that I have a little bit more control over where that particular glitter color is going to stick. So we're going to start with the top and work our way down to the bottom. I'm going to mix my glitters, some chunky and some fine. And then once all of your glitter has been applied to the tumbler, you're going to want to go ahead and seal that with some kind of sealant. I used Rustoleum 2x clear spray paint and let that dry. And then I did go ahead and add a coat of epoxy. after you've placed your first coat of epoxy on the tumbler and that has cured, then you're ready for your next step, but only if your tumbler is smooth to the touch. If there are still some pokey bits of glitter sticking out and it's not smooth, go ahead and add another coat of epoxy. I wouldn't recommend sanding at this step, only because if there are some exposed pieces of glitter and you sand it, it will remove the color from the glitter. So use your judgment on that. If it's not extremely exposed, you could go ahead and do a light sanding, but I would recommend just adding another thin layer of epoxy. And then if it still is not quite smooth, but there's no glitter exposed, then at that point you can sand your tumbler and get ready for your next step. Okay, so first of all, let me apologize for the unclear viewing on this portion of the video. I guess there was something on my lens. I didn't realize it until after the fact. But um, once you have your tumbler smooth, you're going to go ahead and add your stencil to the tumbler. And I just used some stencil vinyl, and I did create my ghost a little larger than you would normally create stencils for tumblers. And the reason is because, again, I was going for that patchwork look. And because of how I painted my tumbler, if I had made the ghost smaller, then they wouldn't be as patchworky. I guess if that, I don't think that's a word, but they wouldn't appear as much of a patchwork design. So again, this goes back to however you want to paint your tumbler. Keep this step in mind as to how it's going to look. So I just made mine larger so that it can incorporate as many of the colors as possible in one single ghost section and make them all a little different. So after I added my stencils to the tumbler, I then wanted to add like some glow in the dark paint. The glitter we're going to be applying over top of the stencils, it's a translucent glitter almost. And so some of the glow in the dark paint is going to show through that glitter, but you don't want to use a real dense glitter because you're not going to be able to see through it. Or you can just skip this step. But I have this glow in the dark paint and it's really thick and like gooey almost. So I'm not sure if maybe it's just old or if it's supposed to be like this, but it almost went on the tumbler in like a glue-like format. I don't know. But nonetheless, I just painted the tumbler with this glow-in-the-dark paint. And then we're going to move over to the cup turning machine. And as it is turning, I'm just going to add this like translucent, color shifty glitter to the top. And because we use the paint as sort of an adhesive for the glitter, once the paint has dried, you're just going to take a gloved hand and sort of rub the glitter down, sort of like you would do like a tack-it method. But we're just going to burnish the glitter and remove any excess glitter. We're not really looking for full coverage here. It is okay if some of the color shows through the glitter, and it is okay if it isn't perfect. Because again, we're just looking for that whimsy patchwork design. So I wasn't too concerned with ensuring that the first layer of glitter was completely covered with this second top coat of glitter. And once you have burnished down your glitter, then you're going to go ahead and remove your stencils and add a coat of epoxy. I believe I had to add 2 coats of epoxy before it was completely smooth. and ready for vinyl application. And when I created my ghost in my brother's Scan and Cut software, I went ahead and created an outline as well. And I'm just going to place the outline around where the stencils had previously been. And then we're going to add a few little vinyl flowers to the ghost just to make them a little more cute. And then I had initially printed these designs on some water slide, and I really thought this was so cute. The one that says Holy Ghost Field Club. I love that. I thought it was so cute. But then I realized like it's way too big for this tumbler, especially because I didn't want to cover any of the ghost up with, a decal. So what I did was I wound up printing it smaller, and we're just going to place it on the bottom of the tumbler. So when you're drinking it, I'm not sure how much it will be seen. If you're using a straw, you're not going to be turning the tumbler up too big. But if you're not using a straw, then when you turn it up to drink out of it, you will see it on the bottom. I thought it was super cute. But a couple of things I wanted to tell you. So you can use rice paper to print. You can use sublimation sticker paper. You can use regular, clear, transparent sticker paper. There are so many different ways that you can achieve a full color decal without having to have a DTF printer. So check these options out if you do not have a DTF printer. Yes, you can purchase DTFs from other companies such as Lion DTF. There's others, I think Jiffy Transfers, and just a plethora of other places. But it does save you some money if you can print it yourself. And to be honest, you still get a really awesome looking product. You just want to be careful where and what you're placing on your tumblers because, again, sublimation printers and regular inkjet printers, they do not print white. So if you have a dark colored decal, it's not going to show up on a dark colored tumbler. Keep those things in mind, but there are ways to achieve a decal look without having to purchase or have a DTF printer. Also, water slide, again, really great option. It comes in white and clear. But a couple of things when you're using rice paper, I used it for the back of my clipboard, which I did a video on previously, although this portion was not in the video due to the fact that I added the rice paper to the back of the clipboard after I had already posted the video. So this part was not in that video. But I added this to the clipboard and I put my epoxy over top. But when I was using my torch to pop any bubbles, it did turn the rice paper a little black. So you should probably seal that when you're using rice paper with like a clear sealant. Same thing for this clear sticker paper that I did put on the bottom of this tumbler. When I used my torch to pop the bubbles, it also turned a little black in sections, and I really didn't think I used too much heat. I mean, I always keep my heat gun moving and my torch gun moving so that it doesn't stay in one spot. But nonetheless, just a lesson there. I probably should have just sealed it, sprayed it with a quick coat of clear spray paint. But those are some options for you to just keep in mind. Also, you may notice that the tumbler looks really dull and not shiny. It has been sanded, and it is okay to apply the vinyl over top of where you have sanded as long as the vinyl is not clear, because if I were to be adding some clear vinyl over top of where I sanded the tumbler, then you would still see those sanding marks and it would be dull and not shiny. But because this vinyl is not translucent, not transparent, and it is opaque, it is not going to show those sanding marks. So it is perfectly fine to add the vinyl over top of where you have sanded, as long as you're not going to be seeing that area. And then once I had my vinyl applied to the tumbler, I did go ahead and add another coat of epoxy, my sticker decal on the bottom, and a final coat of epoxy. And this Patchwork Ghost tumbler is complete. I love how it turned out. I think it's so cute, and I love the imperfections of it. You can see the first layer of glitter through the top layer of glitter, and that's okay. Like, I think it turned out really cute. I loved it. If you liked it as well, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel. I have been doing this for a little over 2 years now, and it's been really slow growing with subscribers because I'm not really on any other social media platforms. And so if you do like it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, but also share it with your friends and family. I would love to get some more subscribers and really build my channel. So with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I hope everyone has a blessed day.